Well, we are on the Guadalupe right now, getting ready to gear up to do some fly fishing with Terry and Angela. So this is going to be a lot of fun. But who else do we find other than Greg Hitchcock, co-owner, Integrated Interventions, Director of Outreach? That's what I'm saying.
Hi guys.
So what are you doing right now?
We're just gearing up, getting the equipment ready.
We should probably ask Terry about the process of getting ready, because I know there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, so this is what we use for the stripers around here. So when we're fishing for really big fish, we use this kind of stuff, which is what I usually fish for really big fish. Greg fishes for really small fish. Don't tell him I said that.
Go ahead with your stink bait.
I don't want to embarrass him.
Greg, can you tell me about the art of casting?
Well, there's a lot of instruction and a lot of video, and a lot of times it's maybe we should catch this fish real quick. He's a little guy.
Oh, nice.
But
there's a little guy. What kind of fish is he?
So this is not a trout. And so in the rivers in Texas, we have what's called panfish. And this little guy would be called a sunfish.
Oh, okay.
See him? And he's unharmed. You gotta be careful. They got spikes that stick out of them, so you gotta grab them the right way. Off he goes.
All right.
So, art of casting, I would say, ultimately is about rhythm, and everybody has their own. So you may learn a few basics, and I do believe it's a little bit like golf. And you get too much instruction and you get confused and frustrated. This is what I say: up and out, up and out, and then leave it to the person to begin to just practice and begin to find their own rhythm.
We find ourselves at another part of the Guadalupe River, and Angela is taking some time with us here. Can you talk about the thrill of catching a fish? Because earlier you had caught one and we got that on camera, and it was a little guy, but I'm sure when you get a big one, of course that feeling is different. But can you describe that feeling, that experience?
Yeah, it's just, you come out with the idea that just being in the water, enjoying the quiet, landing a fish is just kind of the topper of all of it. It's just an added bonus. For me personally, it's spending the time in the water, and so anytime I can bring one in, even if it's a little guy like the one earlier, it feels good.
So Terry, you talked about a type of cast that you're doing right now.
Doing what's called a spey cast, so that it's a casting style that comes from Scotland, specifically the Spey and Dee rivers, where they have steep banks, and you need to be able to make a back cast or a long cast without making too much of a back cast. Mm-hmm. Where most traditional fly fishing, you're casting up and back, and you've got a long line behind you and a long line in front of you. This style of casting, I can cast and change directions, casting without actually casting behind me.
So ultimately you're building a rapport with the river and the surroundings you're fishing in.
Yeah, ultimately you're building a rapport with the river. That's absolutely correct. And having an understanding that the only thing that doesn't belong out here is us. So, we've got to be able to build a relationship so that we understand what's going on, what the environment is that we're stepping into, and then how to have a relationship with that environment to get some sort of progress, so that you can get some kind of results from what it is that you're trying to do. I think for me, it's become, as a young person, it was about results. It was about, what you could catch, how much you could catch, and then later on it became about the process. The process was far more important than the actual result. The process, the path that you're walking, the being in the river, being close to nature is far more peaceful than a trophy, right? And so when those those kind of things you carry with you, right? Like spiral dynamics, you're progressively moving forward, you carry that information with you. And then as you get older, it's more about just being in the environment. And then somewhere along there, it's about teaching others, right? To appreciate the resource and to be quiet. And to, if we weren't standing here talking, the only sound that you can hear is the birds and the wind and the leaves and the water downstream. So sometimes just being in the water and letting your fingertips touch the water and letting the water go past you is as peaceful as it could possibly get. We work in an environment in a world that's noisy all the time. Everything's a giant distraction between cell phones and televisions and computers and people jabbering and talking about absolutely nothing to all the commercialism and the purchasing of all the stuff that makes you feel like you're going to be whole. None of that has to do with just being centered and being balanced with yourself. Fly fishing really does that. It's the act of being in the environment and being one with the environment, building a relationship with that environment so that you can get some results from that.
It's been an awesome day. We are in the heart of the Guadalupe River fishing with Terry and Angela and Greg. And I've never really spent any time in terms of fly fishing. A lot of the fishing I've done, pretty much all of it has been either dock or by boat or bank fishing. So to be able to come here out on the river and spend time with our owners has been an amazing experience for me. And I get to hang out with them a decent bit, but to be able to hang out with them here in this setting, it's been an awesome experience. My name is Patrick Dundas. I'm the Director of Education, and this is a very special edition of Off the Cuff on the Guadalupe River.